Akhetaten's Gates, Chapter 41. Such a bitter sting it was to face with twisted irony. Akhetaten had spent half of his reign converting Egypt from the old ways to Atenism. The time it took for Egypt to convert back? A half an hour. I should have been happy about such a smooth transition, but I couldn't help but feel a pain in my heart. But the following year saw a real boost in morale. As if to undermine my ability, I took charge of teaching Akhetaten and Akhetaten the old ways. But perhaps then, I was not really so qualified. I remembered some of the old ways, but, to be honest, not enough. So much of my focus had been devoting myself to Atenism that I wasn't sure how to behave otherwise. It was a unanimous decision among the populace that Aten should be shunned, forgotten, and seen only as, at best, a lovely piece of decor. No one, I suppose, really wanted Aten gone, but to be put into the shadows of Amun, as it had once been. Amun rose once again to the foreground, with Aten behind him thereforth. Aten was an empty image. But in giving reverence to Amun, Aten was replaced in a second flip-flop of power. All who bore the name of Aten changed it swiftly to bear reverence to Amun. Not even my home was immune. Akhetaten was one of very few individuals demanding to keep her name. It was tolerated. One here or there, it wouldn't be a threat. But Akhetaten was unable to defend her name as fiercely. Being a future queen of Egypt, I had dutifully renamed her Ankhesenamun. Akhetaten was probably rolling over in his tomb somewhere. And then, Akhetaten. Can you imagine the shock to all this time have been beholding him, Akhetaten? It stirred a great deal of excitement in me, to be honest. Only now I wished I could outlive him, to know all of those things that would go unanswered. On the topic of Akhetaten, there was a reunion with Kia. Once Luxor was standing tall as the capital once again, we returned to that palace, making it possible once more for mother and son to see one another, when I and Horemheb would allow. The boy had become an obsessive project for him, and I envied him. Akhetaten leaned on Ramose like a crutch. During a brief promenade of sorts, she had paled and began to grow faint. Once they had stepped foot inside, he called desperately for servants to aid her. I appeared just as she was being taken away. "Akhetaten!" I cried, trying to rush to her, only to be pulled back by Ramose. "Your Highness, stop! Let me go! What's wrong with her? Just leave her be. She may just need some rest. Stay calm. There's a lot of stress in the family, and it is a hot day." "Rest?" I turned on him. "That chaos is just in need of rest?" "She is perhaps a little overworked. She is a very busy queen, and I have to admire her strength and persistence. You know how she can get. She has never been known to do anything only halfway." I pulled from him and smacked him in the chest. "Why is it that you have to worry me so?" He chuckled, rubbing the assaulted area. "No matter how many people you try to fool, it is obvious that you are a mother." "Humph!" was my less than witty retort as I pouted. "Ramose, the years had brought us close. Long ago was the day that Akhetaten had brought him here. But now, he was my most trusted friend. I felt comfort from him, but also a sense of guilt. I had taken a liking to Ramose. Even after so much, I felt dirty any time I toyed with the notion. For one, I had never wanted to betray Akhenaten's claim to my body, even if now I was free to do so as I pleased. But seriously playing the part of Smenkare also put some complications in the matter. Playing the role as a man, despite the obvious, well, it was just plain weird. But aside from Akhetaten, he was almost perfect. "I am so sorry, Smenkare." "Huh?" I was pulled from my thoughts when Ramose spoke. Had I spaced out again? Sorry for what? I'm afraid that I have lied to you. About? My innocence. Okay, I had to muddle that about in my head, but even after I had no clue what he was talking about. Explain. I only refer to you as Smenkari before you and others, but at night, when I return to my chambers, I fantasize. I fantasize myself with Nefertiti. I envy Akhetaten even now. He was lucky to win the heart of such a beautiful woman. Even in death, it's kept close to him. Oh my! He had somehow inherited that creepy, I know what you're thinking thing Akhetaten always did. I almost forgot to breathe. These feelings. Oh, Ramose. My feelings were blasphemous, and I had to hide them from His Majesty Akhetaten and His Majesty Smenkari. I was unable to speak. This man who had worked for my family was not only simply infatuated, but was in love with me on a level that could drive him mad. What was I supposed to do? To say? What? His feelings for me were obviously stronger, though not unreturned. What? I hid my face in my hands. Oh, what a dilemma. Meridaten paced before me as I sat in her chamber as Nefertiti. What am I going to do? Why are you making it so complicated? Meridaten asked. Because I shouldn't. But I am so lonely and still a woman at heart. A woman with needs, she stated. How many years has it been since a man has touched you? So many consecutive years. Before father's death, was there ever a long period of time, aside from being with child, that one fight? That's not what I said. Before father's death, was there ever a long period of time, aside from being with child and that one fight that you were not with him? Let's face the facts. Sex was not an issue when you were beside him because you never went long without it. You were a very passionate couple. So suddenly all the passion ceased. Now, after foregoing your desires for so long, you cannot handle them yourself anymore. I covered my ears and brought my knees to my chest. I cannot believe my daughter is giving me this sort of talk. She came over and plucked my hands away from my head. You told me these things because you wanted my opinion. She sat down beside me, growing very tired. After a few minutes, she continued. You want my opinion, so I'll tell you. I think it is a very good idea. Pharaoh cannot bed with a man. Who says? Pharaoh can do anything and any one of his pleasing. He won't be doing it in public, so what difference would it make? Father risked such public displays. Those unsure Smenkari was a woman feared Akhetaten had replaced his beloved queen's place in his bed with a prince. I hate it when you refer to him by name. My point is, who cares? You're not a man, not a virgin, and not fertile anymore. He likes you, and you obviously like him. But perhaps you are waiting for my opinion of him. Do you have one? I'm me, she chuckled. I have an opinion about everything. Ramose is a very nice guy. He reminds me a lot of Father Entepi. He's a special man, I agreed. But I love no one like your father. Father is gone from this world, Meridaten stated. He would want for you to be happy. You can still love him, but he can do nothing for you in this world. If you take company with Ramose in your remaining years, I doubt that it will hurt Father's feelings if it makes you happy. I don't want to be lonely. So don't, she shrugged. Take comforts in another man until the time comes to take comforts in your true love again. You speak in such crude words, I sighed. I told you. I'm me, she laughed. I stared at the lamp, watching the flame flicker. My mind was heavy, and my heart was racing. A hard swallow followed. Oh, Akhenaten. Forgive me. My chamber doors that once led to Akhenaten's king's chambers, and now led to mine as king, opened. Ramose, met by my guards, peeked in. Did you summon for me, mighty Smenkhare? Mighty? Who was he fooling? I was a coward and a fool. Yes, you may enter, Ramose. Shut the doors behind you. This is a private matter. He did so, keeping the guards out and approaching me, kneeling humbly, prostrating to kiss the ground at my feet. To prevent him from doing so, I extended my leg. Do not put your lips to the dirt, Ramose. It will make them dirty. He replied duly by kissing my leg boldly, sending a chill up my spine and giving me goose flesh. He peered up curiously at me and waited as if he were an obedient puppy. Do I but see a ghost of the most beautiful woman in Egypt? He asked. I am no ghost, Ramose. A memory perhaps, but no ghost or phantom. Why have you called me here, Smenkhare? I placed a finger on his lips and bid him to rise before me. Casually, I took hold of his hands. Not Smenkhare. Not here. I am Nefertiti. He began to tremble. Who could have thought that simple little me could reduce men to this? I don't understand. I think you do, I replied. I am a mournful and sensitive woman, and I am very lonely. My bed for many nights has remained cold and empty. Do you know what it's like, Ramose, to be so in love with something you cannot have? I know this feeling well, he replied. It eats you up inside. My very essence would never betray Akhenaten. He lowered his head. I understand, Your Grace. I never meant... But I must accept that my life must continue without him, I interrupted. We will resume when we are together again. But I am only human now. I am free to seek comfort and fulfill needs so long unmet. Ramose, you are the most trusted man under my command. You are caring and generous. But these grand traits sadden me. Sadden? He gasped in surprise. How is this so, Nefertiti? I am common born, Ramose. I was simply some obscure military officer. By chance, when Pharaoh came to Memphis, did he hope to further and advance himself. I cannot claim divine conception and birth. Though I am obviously a woman, I must act the part of a man in public. I feel as though you would be doomed to misery. The woman inside aches for the love she once knew. But I am a spoiled woman. I am old, just a shadow of what I once was. I am unable to make you more than you are. Even if I could, I would not. Akhenaten wished for Tutankhaten. Forgive me. Tutankhamun to become pharaoh, and I will see to it. I would never seek such a position, Ramose replied. My wishes are simple. In the seclusion of my chambers, I make my transformation from Smenkhare to Nefertiti. Not only does my ache and loneliness grow, but it is a moment that I may satisfy such desires. He smiled softly as he blushed. I stood before him and coaxed him to wrap his arms about me. I hold you in high regard. My love for you runs deep. I owe you much, I whispered. You owe me nothing. 6 years. It had been 6 years since I heard a man tell me that he loved me. It was an overwhelming warmth within me, making my heart sing and my eyes well with tears. I took his face in my hands and kissed him. He had waited a long time for this, too. I could tell. He wrapped his arms tighter around me. This began a moment of passion that I longed for and welcomed. It had been 6 years since a man touched me in such ways. At last, some release.